Greetings, friends. Today, I want to take you to a place where time stopped at 1:23 in the morning. A place where an invisible enemy was unleashed, one that could not be seen, smelled, or felt, but would change the world forever. This is the story of Chernobyl. Not just the explosion you've heard about, but the human moments, the mistakes, the silence, and the price paid by ordinary people. In the early hours of April 26, 1986, the city of Pripyat was asleep. Pripyat was a modern Soviet city built to house workers of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It was young, clean, planned, tree-lined streets, schools, hospitals, cinemas, parks. Nearly 50,000 people lived there. Most were families, engineers, teachers, children. That night, nothing seemed unusual. Inside the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, reactor number 4 was undergoing a routine safety test, a test meant to see whether the turbines could generate power during a blackout. It had been done before, nothing dramatic, just another procedure. But small decisions began to stack up, one mistake after another, warnings ignored, rules bent. The reactor was unstable, power levels dropped dangerously low. Operators tried to correct it, but made it worse. At 1:23 a.m., the operators pressed a button meant to shut the reactor down safely. Instead, it triggered a catastrophic surge. In less than a second, power output spiked to over 100 times its normal level. Fuel rods shattered, water instantly turned to steam. A massive explosion ripped through Reactor 4. Then, a second explosion. The 2,000-ton steel lid of the reactor was blown into the air. The core was exposed. For the first time in history, a nuclear reactor exploded in the open. But the most dangerous part wasn't the explosion. It was what came next. Radioactive material, iodine, cesium, strontium was launched into the atmosphere. A radioactive cloud rose high into the sky and began drifting across Europe. At the plant, workers were confused. Many didn't even realize the reactor was destroyed. They believed it was a fire, a manageable accident. Firefighters were called. They arrived within minutes. Brave men, ordinary men. They had no protective gear, no understanding of radiation, no idea they were stepping into a death zone. They climbed onto the reactor roof. They picked up chunks of graphite with bare hands. Graphite from the reactor core, burning, radioactive. Their skin began to redden almost immediately. Metallic taste filled their mouths. Some began vomiting on the spot. But they kept working, because that's what they were trained to do. In Pripyat, residents were woken by a strange glow in the sky. A beautiful blue and purple light shimmered above the plant. Children gathered on bridges to watch it. No one warned them. No alarms sounded. Life continued. People went to work. Children went to school. Weddings were planned. Laundry hung outside, collecting radioactive dust. By the morning, radiation levels in the city were already lethal. Yet the Soviet authorities said nothing. It wasn't until nearly 36 hours later that evacuation orders were given. Buses arrived, hundreds of them. Residents were told they would be gone for just a few days. Bring only essentials. Your homes will be waiting. Parents locked doors. Pets were left behind. Children carried toys. No one knew they would never return. Pripyat was emptied in a matter of hours. It became a ghost city. Meanwhile, the reactor was still burning. The fire inside Reactor 4 burned for 10 days, releasing massive amounts of radiation. Helicopters flew overhead, dropping sand, boron, and lead into the exposed core. Many pilots received lethal doses. Soldiers, miners, engineers, later known as liquidators, were sent in, hundreds of thousands of them. Their job was to contain the disaster, to clean radioactive debris, to build a concrete sarcophagus over the reactor. Many worked for minutes at a time. That was all their bodies could handle. Some were given meters, others were not. Some were told the radiation was harmless, others were told nothing at all. They shoveled radioactive graphite off rooftops. They buried contaminated soil. They slaughtered animals in surrounding villages. They saved Europe, and many paid with their lives. Radiation doesn't kill like fire or bullets. It attacks silently, from the inside. Cells stop dividing, organs fail, immune systems collapse. The first firefighters died within weeks. Their bodies burned from the inside. Doctors could do nothing. Official death counts were minimized. Records were sealed. Truth was hidden. But the damage spread far beyond Chernobyl. Radioactive clouds drifted over Belarus, Russia, Scandinavia, and Western Europe. Milk was contaminated, crops destroyed, forests poisoned. Entire regions became uninhabitable. Belarus alone received nearly 70% of the fallout. Cancer rates increased. Birth defects rose. Psychological trauma followed survivors for decades. Even today, the true number of deaths linked to Chernobyl is unknown. Estimates range from thousands to hundreds of thousands. The Soviet Union tried to control the narrative, but Chernobyl exposed something far more dangerous than radiation. It exposed lies, secrecy, arrogance. It showed what happens when systems value image over human life. In 1986, Chernobyl became a symbol of the collapse to come. Just 5 years later, the Soviet Union itself would fall. Today, the exclusion zone still surrounds the reactor, a 30-kilometer radius where humans are not meant to live. Nature has reclaimed the land. Forests grow through buildings. Animals roam freely. Radiation remains, but life persists in strange ways. Reactor 4 is now sealed under a massive steel structure called the New Safe Confinement, designed to last 100 years. But radiation lasts much longer. Pripyat still stands, classrooms with notebooks on desks, toys in apartments, Ferris wheel rusting in silence, a city frozen at 1:23 a.m. Chernobyl changed the world. It changed nuclear safety. It changed politics. It changed how humanity understands invisible danger. But most of all, it changed lives. Lives that were never meant to be sacrificed. Lives that trusted systems. Lives that paid the price. Chernobyl is not just a disaster, it is a warning, a reminder that technology without responsibility is a weapon, that silence can be deadly, that truth matters, especially when lives are at stake. And even decades later, as the reactor sleeps beneath steel and concrete, the story is not over, because radiation fades slowly and consequences last forever. Somewhere in the quiet ruins of Pripyat, the wind still moves through broken windows, and the city remembers the night the world changed. Waiting.